This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creatives to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? Yo, listen, if you haven't listened and watched episode 63, you're missing. And then catch the previous 62 episodes on my website, stillvisionary.com. Just an intro. Peace and blessings. Let's go.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jiggle, puffy. All that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies.
Houston, Texas. Welcome to episode number 64. Listen, quite a turnaround. I just did episode number 63 on Friday the 2nd. And, the 1st. And, I had to turn that around for Jayla. She wanted to drop that episode on Saturday at noon. So this is the regularly scheduled episode dropping Tuesday, the 5th. So, you already know what time it is, man. Let me remind
My mom
you.
said to me, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry.
I came here
And I said, Mom, I am a
to take over. And I want to start out by playing my girl's record, Boss You Up, before we get into today's guest. Right? Let's get it, man. Yeah. 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 Let's go.
Heard about me, but it's hard to find me. I lay low with my team, plotting on a milli. See, I don't work for free, pay me what you owe me. I won't show up for free, I only come for money. If you want it, then let me know. If you wanna show, send my fee before. I got what they asking for, ask me for a quote.
Yo, Houston, Texas, you see the new location. I moved into my crib in April, so when I recorded those 2 episodes, that weekend of the 18th, man, it was in preparation to move, start a new chapter of my life. So shout out to my wife, Kizzy Ross Dike. I love you and congratulations. Here we Here we go.
Hello.
Sandra.
Hey, what's good?
Chilling, how are you?
I'm doing good. Chilling. Weather's great out here.
I want to welcome you to episode number 64 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary, Inc.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
We're recording right now, and
Dope.
it's a pleasure to be finally talking to you, because I remember last year, Labor Day weekend, when I came out to LA, you were one of the ones that I wanted to talk to out there.
Dope. Well, thank you for having me. Super happy to be catching up with you.
No doubt, no doubt. How you been?
I've been good, man. Just quarantining, but still staying active.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about this episode, including your journey. But you know what? We'll go here first. Let's introduce our social media handles so we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point. Go ahead.
Okay. So my social media is at Sandra Aderabigbe. So SandraAderibigbe. And then my company Instagram is at DTR Events.
Okay.
DTR EVENTS.
Okay. And my name is John Ross Dike II, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and still_visionary. If you would connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. That's STILLVISIONARY.com. In front of you, Sandra, you can't see this, but in front of you, when you watch this episode, I have all my paraphernalia, my T-shirts, and my What's Next podcast T-shirt, and you can shop stillvisionary.com/apparels.
Dope.
No doubt. So, I guess I'll start off here. In the evolution of my podcast, I think I've lost a few viewers and listeners because I haven't identified, or the guest and I haven't identified what people should take from the episode in regards to the creative. So I'm interested to find out what people should take from our conversation and your journey.
Well, basically, if at the end of this conversation, people can take the concept of really just figuring out what you love in life and then figuring out a way to monetize it, and then enjoying the journey. That's really what I would love if people can walk away with that. Just life is really too short to be doing anything you don't love. So the first thing is to figure out what you love, what sparks joy. And then the second thing is to figure out how to make money off of it. There's really no excuse to not make money off of something you love to do. There's so many ways to monetize really just about anything. So figuring out how to make money doing it. And then really it takes time. It's not like it's something that comes automatically, but really when you actually figure out that it's all about the journey and figuring out how to enjoy the process instead of just trying to get to a certain result, life gets a lot easier. You know what I mean? Because you can always find the positive in things. You can always understand that if even things don't seem like they're working out now, at the end, it always works out. So rather than stress only for it to work out, just don't stress and wait for it to work out. You know what I mean? So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. So, I mean, obviously we go way back.
Yeah, for sure.
We go way, way back. We didn't grow up together, but what side of the city are you from? Where did you go to high school at?
So I went to high school. I went to three different high schools. So I grew up in Southwest
Houston, Texas.
area.
Okay.
Yes, Houston, Texas. Sorry,
okay.
I got to put context. Houston, Texas. I'm from Houston.
Okay.
Grew up in Southwest. Started off in private school, Fort Bend Baptist Academy. Then moved to Dulles High School in Stafford, and then we moved to Sugar Land, and then I went to Lamar Consolidated.
Okay.
For the rest of my high school, so 3 different high schools.
Okay. And so when I say we go way back, I met you. I mean, we met in the U of H circuit party, whatever scene. But I really came into acquaintance with you when you started working for Cosmo, and you were involved with Vic. His name slipped my mind. You were involved with Vic, and you were working with Cosmo. From there, you moved to Jersey. Right? You
said what?
I said from there you moved to Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah, catch me up. Like, what was the whole? And I hope this doesn't spill off into our next segment, but you moved to Jersey, and what was the whole move? Like, chronologize that for me. What were you doing at the time period?
Yeah. So basically, I kind of had came to a plateau in my career in Houston. Well, in my mind, I did. I was super, super busy, but I didn't feel like I was making the money I wanted to make or really getting the experiences that I wanted to experience. So I'm an event producer, went to college to be a lawyer, then decided like first week, nah, I'm not going to do all that. Yeah. Then went to switched my major to business, couldn't pass math. It wasn't working for me. Then I eventually changed into communications major, which I loved because it just taught me how to work with groups, how to be a leader, how to communicate, which I feel like set the foundation for me to go into event planning and marketing. So when I graduated, started my own company, did event planning. You met me when I was working for Cosmo. Cosmo was one of the first people I worked for out of college, who taught me. Him and Victor, they definitely taught me the game. Like, those are my OGs right there, my brothers, in the sense of we was in the lab all day, every day, period. Like, you wake up in the morning, we went to the office, and we didn't leave till 9 a.m., 9 p.m., even times later than that. It was just the standard, you know, and nobody was asking us to work these hours. Nobody, because everybody was working for themselves. But just that work ethic of, you know, you gonna grind all day for yourself, you know? So appreciate them for that. So anyways, fast forward, I'm in Houston. I've been doing these event planning. I was also working with this Social Junkie, which is a sports bar. I was doing their marketing and managing all the parties and stuff like that. But I kind of got to a point where I felt like I was very, very overworked and underpaid. And again, not being stretched creative wise. Like, I wasn't planning nothing I wanted to plan. So I remember it was actually a contract that I had that ended a lot quicker than I thought it was going to end, with you know, a group of people who I thought I was going to work with forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So after that contract ended, I was like, all right, what next? You know what I mean? You got to do something for yourself. You can't keep trying to build for everyone else and not build for yourself. You know what I mean? You can't keep giving your all to all these different companies, even if it's a small business. You know, you can't keep giving your all to all these different companies, because at the end of the day, business is business, you know? So you can always get replaced, you know? So I started searching. I was like, all right, well, let me just go into corporate America and plan some events for them and use their money. Because a lot of the event,
I'm sorry, is that what you mean by business is business, that you're replaceable?
Yeah, in the sense of, it's not personal that I'm replaceable, but everybody's replaceable in business, because business is business, and nobody should go into business taking it personal. You know what I mean? You could love somebody. Yeah, you know? So I started searching for jobs, and there was literally nothing in Houston. And I remember distinctly being on LinkedIn searching for event producer jobs in Houston. Nothing pulled up. Then I took away the city and I just looked up event producer jobs, and I saw that New York literally had all the jobs, all these jobs, all these brands that I didn't even think about wanting to work with until I saw like these job descriptions. It basically just opened up my eyes. I was like, wow, like there's so many jobs out there for event planners like me. They're just not here, you know? Yeah. So at that point I was like, all right, well, I got to move to New York. So my best friend, one of my best friends she lived in Jersey City, which is which is New Jersey, but on the brink of New York.
Hudson River.
Yeah, like we were literally like 8 minutes away from the World Trade Center. So she lived in New Jersey, and I was like, all right, can I stay with you for a little bit and come to New York and basically just kind of try to figure things out. Figure out if I'm going to start applying for some stuff, you know, trying to network, really just trying to see what's up. But I'm going to stay at your spot for a little bit. And, you know, her being the great friend that she was like, for sure. So I literally packed up 2 suitcases and I moved to New York. I started working with this creative agency, this recruiting agency called Creative Circle. So I sent them, somebody referred me to them who got a job in New York. So I sent them my resume and went to go interview with them as soon as I landed. And then literally within 2 weeks, I got a job offer for this shipping company called Maersk Line. They were looking for a marketing event planner, basically an event planner, but it was within the marketing team. Okay. They were looking for somebody to come and basically help them build an event planning program. You know, they never had an event planner before. It was usually just people kind of coming together. So they were really looking for somebody to kind of help them make events more of a strategy. So I interviewed with them and I ended up getting that job in 2 weeks. So everything happened so quickly because I thought I was going to go there and maybe come back. I didn't even really tell people I was leaving because I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. You know, but as soon as I got to New York, you know, I got the job. So I just ended up staying. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of how I got to New York, which was definitely, man, I'm so grateful I lived there 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That definitely put some hair on my chest for sure. That place.
The good kind.
Yeah, the good kind, man. That place was not easy. New York is like for no suckers for sure.
Yeah. So, while in New York, what did you feel, feeling wise, aesthetically? What did you feel that the difference was between home and New York inside of that new lane that you were traveling on?
Honestly, and it could have just been the way I was positioning myself in Houston, but I just felt a lot more respected for what I did in New York. You know, I felt like the details that I put into events, the strategy that I had was actually appreciated and needed. And it was such an amazing experience to see all your ideas, all the things that you thought were true come to life. You know, I had all these concepts that this would be dope for an event, or this would be cool for a strategy, or if we did this, we can probably get more people to sell. But I never really had the company that had the budget to pay me either to build it out or to afford to do the things that I wanted to do. So, you know, I just felt like the whole energy in New York was more, they appreciate hard work and talent because that's the only way you stick out. Nobody cares about the extra stuff. You can't really, I don't want to say you can't fake it in New York, but yeah, man, you really can't fake it in New York. You know, you really got to come with it because nobody really has time to play no games. They're trying to catch the train. They're trying to get home.
Yeah.
Everything is hard to get to. It's not really that easy to move around in New York. So everything is quick. And at first I took it very personally. I was like, why is everyone so mean? Like no one even looks. But then shit, when you miss the train a few times, you understand why people are walking so fast. You got places to go, you know, like you miss the train, you got to wait another hour to get to the next train. You got to pay a taxi. It's an hour to be in a taxi, and then taxis are hella expensive. Like you have places to go, you know? So I think, as far as comparison to Houston and New York, I feel like it was just a lot. I felt like I thrived in the sense of I was finally around people who respected the details, you know, instead of just appreciated it, but didn't really want to pay for it. You feel me? Yeah.
So creativity comes from experiences. Let's backtrack a little bit. You're in Houston. Creatively, how did you start that whole process of event planning? What was that first experience like? And then moving to New York, what was your first event there that, you know, finally put, like you said, put the hair on your chest? What was the first event in New York, and where did you start in Houston at with the creative aspect of everything?
Yeah, so in college, it actually started in college. So I was a part of this organization called the Southwestern Black Student Leadership Conference, and I was in the programs committee. And so it was my job to find talent. We had like an entertainment night that I had to plan, and then we had a banquet that I had to coordinate. And my budget was like $20,000 or something like that for the whole. That was a really big budget for a college kid. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, you know. So, that's I planned. I think the first event I planned, it was a casino night, and then I planned this banquet for about 150 students. And really, after planning that, I knew, it was just this feeling I had. I was like, okay, like this feeling of working so hard and then seeing the event come to life and seeing people really just enjoy themselves. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, I just knew, I just knew, I just felt it. And I never felt anything like that before. I never felt certain about anything I wanted to do before. Okay. So I did that, and then it was really I did that for 2 years. It was really the last event I did in college I planned a fashion show / concert. And that was when, you remember that Piff, when everyone was on that Piff, download and mix it. Yeah. I've always been I love rap. You feel me? I think it's because I grew up not being able to listen to it. So as soon as I got to college, I was just rap. So I was basically on that Piff trying to find an artist that I can book that would be cheap enough to where I can afford it, but would be popping enough to where people would fuck with it. Yeah. So it was literally this was in 2010. Okay. So no, 2009. Okay. So literally between J. Cole. Okay. Drake, okay. J. Cole, Drake, Wiz Khalifa. Okay. And I went with J. Cole, And so I booked him. I had a fashion show. And I just really remember basically after that event, I was like, all right, like this is exactly what I want to do. And again, after I graduated, I was just like, okay, let me start my own event planning company. And I started it and basically had contract work around it to make sure I made money. But yeah, it was definitely in college planning those conferences that really made me realize this is what I wanted to do.
Okay. So, okay, let's go into the event planning. Give me your top 3 things that you as a professional event planner are looking to do the most with the least amount of money.
Say that one more time.
Give me the top 3 things that you're looking, as an event planner, that you're looking to do and accomplish with the least amount of money.
In regards to any event I'm planning, or I'm sorry, I don't really. Yeah.
Like if you're gonna, okay, so like if you're planning for DTR, you're planning an event. What are the top 3 things that you need to do if you, with the budget that you're allotted? What are the top 3 things that you need to do in the event?
Okay. So the first thing you need to do to make sure your event is successful is to figure out the purpose in the beginning.
Okay.
So once you figure out, all right, why am I doing this event for? That gives you a lot of clarity on whether or not you even need to do it. Then the second thing you need to figure out is, who is this event for? So once I know why the event is going on and who it's for, I literally just create an experience that would make that person coming feel good. And a lot of times those things don't even cost that much. Yeah. So it's more so I look at what, if you're just trying to get sales, if you're just trying to get people involved, you can get really creative when it comes to the budget. It's more so, how are you trying to reach these people? What do you want them to feel? And how can we work backwards with what we have to create that? So everything I do is around that. It really would just depend on what type of event for me to figure out, like, all right, like I want to do this, like this is a priority regardless of the budget, but it just depends on who are you doing it for. Sometimes you don't need all that extra stuff to spend all that extra stuff. If you're trying to reach this demographic, they don't even care about that. And you're wasting all this money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so in booking J. Cole, was it because he was just the hottest thing around? What was the difference between J. Cole to you and Wiz Khalifa to you?
So really I just picked, at that time in my life, I just picked the rapper that I related to the most, that I felt like would relate to college students the most. Correct. So J. Cole had went to college, you know what I mean? He played ball. I felt like that would be a better pick. Mm-hmm. Low key, I wanted to go with Drake. Yeah. Because Drake was my favorite, but they both are my favorite, but at that time, like I was like, Drake is going to be popping. But I chose J. Cole because I felt like, all right, this is a student leadership conference, and J. Cole like has this energy that I feel like people can look up to, and then he can spit, so that's why I picked him. Wiz was still popping too, but I just felt like J. Cole fit the demographic even better. I loved all 3 though.
Yeah. So you're in New York. So you're in New York. When do you plan on going to LA? What was the LA move like? When did you know that New York was finished?
Yeah, so it's so crazy. I love New York for the toughness that I felt like it put in me. It made me learn how to not take things personal. But I already knew like 2 months into New York that I couldn't stay there forever. It was just it never felt like home to me. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was a place that I was supposed to be to learn. So really it was 2 years in my company, right? And I had just pitched to them. So I came up with this. I did a lot for Ameris Klein in the sense of they never really had an event planner that cared about events like me. So I was telling them, look, y'all don't need to spend $30,000 on this. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, no one cares. It's not doing this. You can actually do this for a lot cheaper. So they loved me. But it got to the point where, because it was a shipping company, the largest shipping company in the world, but it was a shipping company, that demographic was literally just old white men. So a lot of after I got done planning a lot of the stuff, it started to get repetitive. I was planning the same conferences. I was planning the same customer dinners. And so they hired me because they wanted me to think out the box. So I was never afraid to come up with a proposal like, yo, let's try this. And so it was actually at the point where it was 2.5 years and I was in, and I was literally like, I'm not about to do, if they don't let me do something crazy or something out the box, I can't stay here because I'm stagnant. I'm literally doing the same thing over and over again. So I came up to them with a proposal like, yo, let's do South by Southwest. Like, let's get like a whole container and really like change the game in the sense of bringing awareness to how we're changing the world with shipping. Because shipping, I mean, we touch everything, you know? So they were like, yeah, we love it. Put together a proposal. I put it together. I went and met with everyone, got so close. And then literally I went to the head of North America, sat down, talked with him, like explained my idea. And they were like, we love it, but it's just a little bit too risky for us right now. And so after that, I was like, I'm out. Like mentally, I was just like, all right, I'm out. Like I already knew I was out, but I'm out. Like y'all, what can y'all do for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so I literally told them, I started talking to them. I was like, all right, where can I go? Like, where can I grow? Because I've already done everything here. And they're like, do you want to go to Copenhagen? And I was like, no, don't nobody want to go to Copenhagen. I do not want to work in Denmark.
Where's that
Denmark.
at? Oh, okay.
Denmark.
Okay.
No, I was not. I ain't moving to New York by myself was already scary, and it's cold. I ain't going to Denmark by myself where there's like 3 Black people. Hell no. Even though I have been to Copenhagen, that place is such a vibe. Like the people there are so nice, like so beautiful. But at the end of the day, nah, it's not happening. Like not by myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I gotta go. So it's literally between Houston and LA. And I was literally 50-50 because I always knew I wanted to live in LA. But I never really had a reason to. And Houston was home and I knew I wasn't going to stay in New York. I was like, all right, I got the experience I need next. And so I remember going home to Houston for Thanksgiving and I stayed there like a week, which was really like the longest I'd stayed there in a while. And I remember going there for Thanksgiving and going out and I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't come back here because I'm not even the same Sandra anymore. Yeah. Like it was just, I felt like I had to reintroduce myself a lot to people and kind of, you know, I just was like, nah, I'm not going to say it would go back, be going backwards to go home, but it just didn't feel like it was the place for me. I was just like, nah, this is not going to challenge me. Plus there were still no jobs in Houston that were exciting enough, you know? Yeah. So I had my other best friend lived in LA, Long Beach. So I was like, shit, what's up? I'm about to, more so I planned this a lot better than I did my trip to Houston. So I saved up. I was like, I'm going to save up this amount of money so that when I move to LA, I can literally go pick where I want to live and live wherever I want and be good for like 2 months until I figure some shit out. Yeah. So I waited till I saved that money. I saved that money. Then I put in like a 4-week notice. And then my best friend, Rahel, she lived in Long Beach. So I was like, what's up, Rahel? Can I come? She had an extra bedroom. So she was like, come stay with me so you can figure out where you want to live because I didn't want to just move to LA and just pick an apartment. So I went to stay with her for a few months, figured out where I wanted to live, found a place in Hollywood, super close to Runyon because Runyon is one of the places that when I went there, I was like, all right, I could definitely do this every day. Yeah. So moved to Hollywood and man, I've been here like, dang, I think it's been 2 years now. Yeah. Okay. It's crazy.
You've lived you're from Houston. You've lived in New York. Houston is home and now you live in LA. Is LA home for you?
Yeah, bro. LA is home for me. Yeah. It's crazy. I never thought I would. Houston is home. Houston is home for sure. Like Houston's always going to be a part of me. Like I'm Houston till the day I die. And I definitely plan on getting a house in Houston. Yeah. Definitely plan on always like my business is based out of Houston. Like I'm always going to rep Houston, but LA is where I'm at and LA is where I'm going to be. Yeah. And I don't really see myself moving anywhere else anytime soon. You never know what the Lord has in store. So I'm never going to say never. But as far as of me right now, like LA is my home right now. Yeah. Yeah.
If you had to define yourself with one word, what would that word be?
Let's see.
Because as I think about that word, because I've asked that question in a few episodes, right? And I'm thinking about that word for myself, and I haven't quite come up with that word yet, but I'm curious to know what that word sounds like or is for you.
That's a good question. One word. As well, I'll just say how I feel as of today.
Okay.
So if I can explain myself how I feel,
your journey,
yeah,
your move, your creation, what would you say that one word is for you?
Resilient is just the word that keeps coming to my head.
Okay.
Resilient. I'm just never gonna stop.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of reasons to stop. Most of the time, about 90% of the time, I feel like I'm in it alone. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how a lot of entrepreneurs feel.
Yeah.
But regardless, like even when it don't make sense to other people, like I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna keep trying. I'm gonna learn. We gonna keep it rocking.
Okay.
Even with this whole Corona energy,
yeah,
that's just been going around.
Yeah.
I've had to, especially as an event planner, especially in the hospitality industry, my industry was affected very much so. Yeah. All my events were canceled.
Yeah. And
all my events are probably still going to be canceled.
Yeah.
But I had to ask myself in that moment, what you going to do?
Yeah.
Like what you going to do? You going to cry about it or you going to figure something out?
Yeah.
And I'm doing virtual events now and they're just as popping. They can make just as much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they take just as much creativity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What song's on your mind right now?
Yeah, what song is on my mind?
When you said that you loved rap, I said, okay, this is going to be a good question to ask her because I ask the question in every episode. What song is on your mind right now at this very moment? And I'll see if I can match it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I literally have been playing Savage remix.
Okay.
I know that's just the vibe I've been on.
Okay.
As of like the last 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. What do you think about Beyonce's? Well, two Houston chicks, Meg and Beyonce. What do you think about her verse?
Yo, so loved it. It's crazy. Whenever Meg dropped Savage, I literally texted my homegirl and I was like, yo, Beyonce's gonna hop on a track with Meg. Maybe not anytime soon, but Beyonce's about to hop on a track with Meg. And my homegirl was like, nah, you crazy, girl. What you talking about? I was like, listen to me. Beyonce's going to hop on a track with Meg soon. Meg right now is too beastie and she just started. Wait till she gets like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when this song dropped, it just proved to me, like, you know what? Like, trust your vision. You feel me? Like, trust your intuition.
Yeah.
Because that shit can help you predict the future. And if you're smart about it, you can actually work around those instincts. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, had I been smart enough, I could have dropped something like, even. I mean, again, I'm not really in the music industry. So but I have an apparel line. I could have, done a Beyonce and Meg something before it even happened. And then bam, it would have happened. And then it could have gone viral. You know what I mean? So I love just being able to peep how the culture moves and feeling like I'm in tune with it because eventually I'll be able to predict it and monetize it. Yeah. I know that sounds real strategic, but whatever.
It sounds right up your alley. So my song that's on my mind is, you mentioned Meg, you mentioned Beyonce. They're both Houston artists. I'm going to go with a Houston artist myself. I don't know if you remember, but there's a gentleman. His name is Tre Rogers. Roger, he went to TSU. He just dropped a new album. It's called G14. I'm going to go with hold on. I want to make sure I get it right. And so I was listening to it today. And he had a line in there. He was like, I represent, he took the old LL Cool J saying in a record that he had a long time ago. And he was like, I represent the Clark. She was raised out in Jutland. And those are two South Side neighborhoods. The Harlem Clark is a South Side neighborhood, and Jutland is a South Side neighborhood that runs through South Park. So the name of that song, give me 1 second to research it. 1 second.
Yeah, for sure.
The name of that song, see my computer moving all slow. The name of that song, I was just looking at it. The name of that song, Sandra, is Type of Guy by
Type of Guy
by Tre Rogers featuring Ashley Jackson. Type of Guy. And I would play it on here, but you wouldn't be able to hear it. Let me play it a little bit. You'll be able to hear it when you listen to the episode. It's playing right now. But it's Type of Guy by Tre Rogers featuring Ashley Jackson.
All right, then I'm gonna listen to it. I just found it.
Hold on. Okay, so you found it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll listen to it later.
Yeah.
Skin tone, Hennessy straight, sweet as vitamin water, and the DMs like busy tomorrow. Questions, emojis in a playful jargon, reply to my aims like don't get me started. You full of games and plus you cold-hearted.
You there?
Yeah, my bad. I don't know. I'm playing it. See, that's the thing. I mean, you talked about being creative amidst this COVID-19, and I found a way to continue the podcast on, so I lose that connectivity for you to be able to hear the record on air during the podcast with you not being here. But I'm still grateful to be able to talk to you on the podcast in this manner, you know what I'm saying, and not have to say, you know what, we'll be back when COVID-19 dies down a little bit. So I was just listening to the record. I ain't even mean to, you know, not be responsive in that moment. So Sandra, we've talked about a lot in this episode, right? My thing is, during the conversation, I've heard you say a lot of being aware of what people like to be able to pitch that idea to the people that you have been working for. Where do you get that intuition from? How do you stay relatable to be able to say, hey, when you pitch this idea, like you pitched the South by Southwest to North America, where do you get that relatability from?
Honestly, meditation.
Okay.
I'm not even going to lie to you. Whenever I started figuring out how to slow my mind down and separate from all the feelings and emotions that I was feeling and recognize that, everything you feel and all these emotions that you have and every thought that you think, that's not you. You know, you're the awareness that views the thoughts and views the feelings, but it doesn't define you, meaning that you don't have to think about these things all day. If it doesn't feel good to think about it, you can just think about something that feels good. So I really that's what meditation taught me. So in learning how to slow down my mind, a lot of great ideas come to me. I notice a lot of things more. My creativity now at 31.8, I'm about to be 32.
When?
In June 29th.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
My creativity now is 100 times more than it was when I started, only because I can observe things more and I'm not so much in my head. So if you watch people, they tell you what they want real easy. If you watch things, like, you can see patterns, you can see what sells, you can see what's popping, you can feel what's popping and what makes you excited, you know, what will make you click, you know, and if you can really get into touch with that, then you can sell anything. But a lot of times people are so worried about what other people are doing. People are so worried about what other people think about them. People are so worried about what they feel like people might feel, that they come up with stuff, they come up with projects, they come up with businesses, and they don't really hit, you know, because at the end of the day, it don't really feel real. It feels like you're just saying what you want me to hear.
Yeah.
You know, so the only way you can be a part of the culture is to be the culture. You know, it's to actually live it. It's to actually experience it. Ask yourself, you know, what works for me? What makes me happy? What am I buying all the time? What am I listening to all the time?
Yeah.
And the only way you can actually notice that is if you take the time to slow your mind down so that you can actually put things together. All of my great ideas, it's crazy. It comes to me in the morning. Like when I wake up in the morning after I meditate, literally I'll have like a rush of like, you should do this with this, or like, this would be a good idea. And I write them down. I literally have a book of just ideas of different marketing strategies, different taglines, different businesses that I come up with, just because when I'm able to slow my mind down, that's when God can speak to you, you know, because everyone has an inner greatness in them. God is within all of us, you know, and he wants us to be great. He wants us to be creative at whatever we want to do. He wants us to be all that we can be, but we're so busy listening to everything else but him. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're so busy listening to what people have to say. We're so busy being brainwashed by social media. We're so busy being influenced by all these things instead of realizing, like, no, like the magic is actually within you if you just chill. Like if you just chill the fuck out, just chill, like everything will come to you. You know, all the ideas you think the answer will come and just chilling out. So that's really where I get my creativity from God, and just learning how to slow my mind down and really just notice all the answers are right in front of you. It's super easy, you know, like it's not easy, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
I do. So, obviously, I've been to New York a few times in my 35 years of existence, going on 36. What you say you were 31.8. I might be 35 point. What month is this? Is this what is it? What month is this? This is May.
May. Yeah.
4 more months would be. So I might be 35 point. Let's say 8. No. Yeah, let's say 8 because it's 12 months from your birthday to the next birthday. So I might be 12.8. So you really might be 31.11, really, if I'm doing the math.
I appreciate that because, you know, I told you how math went. I don't know shit about math, so I just make numbers that sound good.
So I'm 35.8, right? And before I turned 35, I made my first voyage to Los Angeles, and I realized how alluring LA was. Because initially I said, you know what, I'll never go to LA. But I said that ignorantly, right? I'm in LA for a day, and I buy a brand new laptop. You know what I mean? And my laptop that seemingly worked for me for, I would say 8-9 years. When I get out to LA to do my first podcast, it just it's not working. So I'm just like, forget it. I'll go out and buy a laptop. And I'm driving the coast of LA, and I'm just like, wow, this city is really beautiful, right? What is the difference to you between, and I'm backtracking a little bit, what is the difference to you between LA and New York besides the weather?
Yo, so what I love about New York is that everything looks the same, which is most of the time dirty, until you get to where you need to get. Like New York, you'll walk into like the dirtiest alley with rats everywhere and shit. But then you go up the elevator and you go to the 100th floor, and the views you see are uncomparable. You know, I've been to some house parties in Brooklyn on the roof watching the sun go down. Like those vibes are so dope. I do distinctly, and again, I'm so grateful for meditation because there's so many times in New York that I remember like telling myself like, yo, you might not ever feel this again or see this again. Enjoy this moment. So there's so many moments I've been in New York where I've seen these views that I'm like, wow, like this shit is, it's like the stuff you see in movies. I can't even explain. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. And then the people in New York, and so as far as New York, it's like, all right, you might it's secret. Like the dope stuff is secret, but once you find the place and like once you get up to the top floor, like it's amazing, but everything is on the top. Like everything on the bottom is, to me personally, everything on the bottom, it was just too much. Like, you know, like it was just too much. Yeah. So that was New York. It's a good place. I feel like you can experience New York just by visiting. Yeah. You don't got to live there to experience all the fun of New York. You can just visit and go there a weekend and enjoy it, and you'll be good. Because most people in New York.
I beg to differ, but go ahead.
You do?
I beg to differ only because I've been to New York with my wife. I've been to New York with Phil and Mike, and I've been to New York by myself. And if you don't know the ins and outs, if you don't know where to go, you know, you can't really have that true New York experience. You know what I mean?
I agree. No, I agree. I mean more so like if you have I completely agree. If you have somebody that you know from New York that knows what's popping.
Yeah.
And you go meet with them, you can still experience everything in a weekend.
Okay.
Because most of the people who live in New York ain't doing nothing but working and going home, because that's just how it is mostly when you live in the city, that you're not, you know what I mean? The people visit. That was what I loved about New York, just the views. And I've been to a lot of places. The views in New York are unmatched.
Yeah.
It's a magical feeling when you get to the top. It's almost like a life. You got to work, and sometimes it's not really cute when you go through it. But once you get to the top, it's like, you know?
Yeah, I do.
So that's what I love about New York. LA, though, like, LA is just, to me, it's just a perfect combination of everything. To where I can literally see myself, like, because I love good weather. I love a good day, but I don't like it too hot. I love a good 80-degree weather. I know you say don't talk about weather, but that's the most important. That's what makes LA so lit. Every day kind of feels like the best sunny day ever, whereas in most cities, you only get a few of those sunny days. And then as far as being able to go hiking, then being able to go to the beach, then being able to go downtown, you really get all of the aspects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really get all three different elements of what you would love in a city. You know, I like to work out, so hiking is a lot of fun to me. So I love going to the hills and hiking and stuff like that. But I know if I want to drive and go to the beach and see water, I can do that literally the same day, you know, and that's just what I love about LA. As far as landscape and stuff like that, I feel like the people here in LA, they're chill, a little bit more dense. You know what I mean?
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Like, not a lot of substance here in LA when it comes to people. Like, people I be so confused about the shit people be worried about in LA. I'm like, what? We really, all right, like, y'all got it. And a lot of people fake it so they make it. This is the place of fake it till you make it. Like, this is where fake it till you make it was invented. So, so a lot of people out here just like, hey, what's your name? What do you do? So I can figure out how I can use you. Like, that's just the energy I get. Like, and it's like, all right, just because I meet you and you figure out what I do, it doesn't necessarily mean I want to work with you. Like, you know, like, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to connect. We could just enjoy ourselves right now. You know, we could just get to know each other instead of like trying to figure out if I'm beneficial to you, vice versa, you know? So that's just the only disadvantage. Whereas in New York, like, people are kind of not as friendly, but when you get to know them, like, there's so much different cultures and personalities. It's amazing. You meet a lot of really amazing people, you know, same thing with LA, but I've met some really dope people in LA that are super chill, but those are like the two differences between both cities, really, for me.
Okay. So I want to go into, let me ask you this question. So, a young woman or a young man is, trying to start a career in event planning. What bit of advice would you give them to get started? And the reason why I say that, this is a learning podcast. And what I mean by that is that I would hope that everybody who listens to this podcast gets something from it, right? And that's why I moved that "What should people take" segment to the beginning, so that people would know 5-10 minutes into the episode, if they haven't gotten what they want to get from it, just turn it off. And, you know, luckily you give it to somebody else, or you just turn it off and say, I'll try next episode with John. But I'm interested to know what advice you would give to that upcoming person that follows you. Hey, if you're going to event plan, this is where you should start. What does that sound like?
I would first say to educate yourself.
Meaning what?
In whatever way you can.
Meaning what?
So if you want to plan weddings, go and and this doesn't mean going to college. It just means going to Google College. If you want to plan weddings, I started off wanting to plan weddings, and I got a wedding planning certificate. I went and educated myself. Then I wanted to do corporate events. So I would just go online and like read what corporate event planners do, like what are best practices and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time initially educating myself. I paid to go to LA for conferences on event planning. I would literally pay out of my pocket to do all these things. I paid to go to this one like business retreat in Montana in the mountains because I felt like it would help me. You know what I mean? I spent so much time and energy just educating myself so that when it came time to talk about it, I knew what I was talking about. You couldn't play me, you know? You can play me in a lot of things. Like you can throw a math problem and have me stumped for sure. But when throw some math, you gonna see me throw a math problem at me. That's the best way to get me stumped. But when it comes to what I do, I'm always a student. I've never got it figured out. So I always educate myself. Like if I don't figure this out, they're going to play me. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing I would recommend. Just educate yourself. And then as an event planner, you really have to work on how you manage stress and how you manage people, because event planning I'm pretty sure if you even like Google like one of the most stressful jobs, like event planning is up there in the sense of what you produce is in front of everybody and it's live. So if something messes up, everybody sees. And so a lot of times as event planners, we put that pressure on ourselves where we don't really understand that. A lot of people don't even know what to expect. So whatever you give them, they're going to be cool with it. Just do your best. And then when you're managing people have so much anxiety when it comes to events. And so your clients are having all this anxiety, and then you have anxiety. And then next thing you know, you've been planning events for years, but never really enjoyed it because everything was just a stressful experience. That's something that happened to me. You know, the first few years I was planning events, it was just stress because I didn't know how to manage my stress. I didn't know what stress was. I just thought I had to just keep working and overextend myself. And I was like, nah, that actually is not the thing to do. The thing to do is just to do your best, do all that you can do every day to the best of your ability. That's it. You know, if it's out of your control, rather than stress about it, let them know it. Like, let's just keep it moving, you know, always adapt. And I feel like that's why so many clients have enjoyed working with me in comparison to maybe other planners, is because no matter what, the party is going to go on. We're going to keep it rocking. Things are going to mess up, and I'm prepared for that. You're never going to really catch me in the middle of it, having a breakdown in the middle of the event. Like, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to figure out how it needs to get done. And half the time, I won't even tell you what happened. I'm not even going to stress you out with that because I know that'll cause you anxiety. I'm just going to absorb that stress myself. So that's two good tips I feel like can definitely, as a planner, if I would have known like focus on how to manage stress, like learn that before anything else, I would have been able to enjoy the journey a lot more. Now that I have figured out how to focus on stress, everything is good. You feel me? Even when shit hits the fan, it's still good. We just gonna learn, you know? So
you got to do me a favor. And this is why I say that. So this is episode 64. Episode 63, that we were, I guess, I don't want to say we were supposed to, but I was supposed to be dropping episode 63 Tuesday. Instead, I'm dropping episode 64 on Tuesday because I dropped an extra episode Saturday in honor of my homegirl who dropped a film this past Saturday, right? So this is what I want to do because I think that it would help the podcast. Everything that we've gotten today is a recollection, right, of your journey. I would like to see you and hear from you in a moment when you're planning an event. So with that being said, you're going to be on the podcast again, and I would like to get you on the podcast in the deepest, when you're in the trenches of planning an event, so that way everything seems more, not organic, but everything seems like, okay, well, this is about to happen, and this is what I'm doing for it to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So I would like to get you on when you're, and I know that maybe even planning for an event, sometimes you lock yourself into a room, you're writing down things. I would like to get you in that process to fully understand where your mind is at certain points in that journey. You know what I mean? That's what intrigues me. That's what intrigues me.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you mentioned earlier, challenges. What was the worst? Well, I'm not worst, but what was the most challenging thing that you've ever, is that where I want to go with it? Yeah. What is the most challenging thing that you ever created in terms of like a proposal to a company? What was the weirdest thing, I should say? What is the weirdest thing and most off the wall thing that you came to a company and said, hey, we should try this? What was that event?
That actually worked, or that I just pitched?
Both.
So the weirdest one I did was definitely for Maersk Line, to take them to South by Southwest. That was definitely like the most ballsy one. I also pitched to create an app, like this 3D app where we would scan. You would take the app and you would scan the logo, and then a whole ship would pop up. And then salespeople can like talk about the different features that we offered just using like a 3D virtual, like with a virtual ship that popped up. So I pitched that, but they let me do it. So that shit was lit. They let me do it. So that shit was definitely lit. So I think that was definitely the craziest, that this app for a trade show. Now, as far as most pressure, I did plan a sales conference. My budget was $500, I think like $600,000.
Okay,
that was my budget, and I have to plan a sales conference for all of the sales team in North America. It was a 3-day conference, and the first one I had to do was in New Orleans, and the first one I had to do was in New Jersey. So that one was cool because I did it that was my first year there, and everybody there's a lot of people who were there that had already planned the event before, so it was smooth. Then everybody ended up leaving randomly one summer, and I was literally left with just one person who had done this before. I had to basically start over from scratch, and I had to plan the whole entire conference in Nashville.
Okay.
So I just remember feeling so much pressure in the sense of the marketing manager, everybody who all the salespeople had loved so much, everyone quit. So I literally had so much pressure as far as I have to make this good, or else they're going to be like, oh, this shit sucks because everybody quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ended up being super amazing, though. I ended up being able to contract a lot of my friends. So I had a fitness company that did like workouts. I had my friend do photography. I had my other friends paint a live mural during the conference. Like, I got my people involved, and they were shook. Like they were hella shook. So that was probably, as far as pressure wise, one of the biggest, just trying to plan that. Currently, I'm creating a virtual fitness studio, as we speak. I literally just launched it yesterday, which is another kind of crazy idea, but it's working already. But I just started. So tomorrow will be the first day we offer workouts every day. So it's a virtual fitness studio. I developed everything on this app. And basically you download the app and you can pick what workouts you want, and then you add them to your calendar. And then when it's time for that workout, you get a notification, you click it, and then the link will take you to Zoom, which you'll be able to see the workout train you live. So that's crazy, just because, all right, like I'm literally saying, all right, we're a fitness studio, we just virtual. You know,
yeah.
I don't know who gave me the audacity to say that, but that's what I'm doing. This is how we are in this virtual industry, especially with everything going on. Everyone's working out from home. So instead of having to pay $30 for a membership to a gym you don't go to, pay $30 for a whole bunch of workouts. And then I'm also doing like meditation. I'm doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So
okay,
that's what I got right now.
Okay.
And from the past, yeah.
Today is May the 3rd, 2020, and we have 242 days left in the year. What do you hope to attain in 242 days?
Maintain my peace.
Attain.
That's it.
Attain.
Maintain.
Oh, you want to maintain your peace.
Maintain my peace. Right now, again, despite everything that's going on in the world, I feel very at peace with the way everything is changing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm God's favorite. I feel like everything is working out and not working out in my favor.
Yeah.
And I just want to keep that same energy all year. Yeah. If I keep that same energy, the blessings will continue to flow. You feel me?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like I said, we're going to have, I would like to get you on here when you're planning for that event, the next event, so I can get it. And then we can drop it the day before the event. If it's a virtual one, especially if it's a virtual one. That's what I did this past weekend. And this past Saturday, and I saw it be very successful in the numbers and how people were watching just to get the story, and then watching the short film that aired later on that evening. So,
dope. Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. So I'm doing this virtual conference, but I'm also planning a virtual power brunch for nurses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably going to be in July.
Okay.
So we can maybe connect then.
Sure, for
sure.
Because
by then that'll be my third virtual event. And because I'm only doing virtual events and private parties this year. I know everything is opening back up, but I'm not, like, in the sense of I'm cool with like planning virtual experiences because I feel like they can be just as impactful, but I don't trust outside yet. So until they figure that out, I'm a adapt.
Yeah. So most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next for you? You said that earlier. I smirked when you mentioned the word "what's next," and I was like, okay, that's the name of the podcast. I smirked, but what's next for you?
I definitely plan on really going hard on these virtual events. I plan on doing some virtual events in the music industry, whether it's like a virtual release party, a virtual concert. I don't know if you saw what Travis Scott did with Fortnite, but I saw that. That whole concept of taking music and technology and bringing it to people's homes, but still making them feel like they're there. Like, that's what's next for me, because that's where the world is going. So rather than fight it or wait for outside to open, I'm going to figure out I already know I can plan a lit as event in person. I've done it, but can you do the same thing virtually? That's the new challenge for me. And I did do one conference that went so well. Like, we did a survey and 100% of the people said that they will go to another event. So you can't get no better than 100%. So I've done it. I've seen it work. Now I'm really I want to do it again, because, you can do it once, but can you do it twice? And then I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And I really see myself that's my next challenge. All right, girl, you can plan an event in real life, but can you make an event virtually lit? And if I could do that, then all right, cool. Like, now I know it's really creativity. It's really the creativity I have. It's not just all the factors. It's really me, so.
Yeah. At this point in the podcast, what I like to give is a signa, a token of my appreciation. And so when we get off the podcast, I'll ask you for your address and I'll send you a t-shirt, one of the exclusive SVI t-shirt that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast. And the next one is the podcast t-shirt. I have a red version on right now, but it's black. And I give that to every creative that comes on the podcast as a token of my appreciation for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look forward to getting it.
No doubt. I'll text you in a few. Houston, Texas. Sandra from Houston lives out in LA, and she's an event planner and a good friend of mine. Houston, I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. Peace and blessings. Sandra, say bye.
Bye. Love y'all.
Yo, I'm a great episode. What you think that
I saw the sign like Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dog. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hustle. It's a private party. Been on my dick too long. Breath on private party. You gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. What's up? Overdose. Yes, we did it again. Sippin' we gon' do it again, and we gon' do it again.
What we doing again?
The most. Overdose. 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 Yeah. Overdose.